federal government delays action. You mentioned in the federal government, but maybe had a vacation plan this weekend. That could be a disruption. But one important thing here is we also will get delays in government data. There's a big jobs report that we're expecting from the Bureau of Labor Statistics on Friday morning. If the Bureau of Labor Statistics isn't open because of the shutdown, we won't get that. We'll essentially be flying blind in terms of what the economy looks like. Now, I do want to point out there are a number of things that won't be impacted by a shutdown. Things like Social Security and Medicare, those will as planned. ICE and also Customs and Border Protection will also be uninterrupted. Asterisk on things like the Veterans Affairs where part of the air traffic controllers are deemed essential. Seen in previous shutdowns, all it takes is for anyway to lead to massive delays at the airport. Could be the same story with TSA officers and security lines as well. Something to think about if a government shutdown does happen and you have to travel after that point in time.
All right, let's bring in NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Julie Sirkin now, because as we mentioned, Republicans need a few Democratic senators to join them to keep the government funded, right? So what have Republicans done to try and get some of those votes?
Yeah, they need about 7 Democrats to join them to keep the government open. I think so far that they will not vote to shut the government down. Something that is never a political winner for either party, to be clear, is Senator John Fetterman, who I spoke to last night. He had words for Democrats. He said, if you guys don't like the policies of this administration, I don't either, then maybe try winning elections. That was a direct quote from him. The problem is Democrats is pushing them to fight the administration.
What happened right there?
First, withholding votes. But this is something that has grappled, like I said, both parties so far, though even that meeting with the president yesterday after the fact, when all 4 leaders met with him, Democrats are dug in. Leader Chuck Schumer just took the podium to talk to reporters after a very long lunch with his caucus behind closed doors, and he seems dug in, blaming Republicans for not negotiating over those health care cuts that the president signed into law earlier this summer. Republicans saying, look, we're just trying to extend current government funding levels, and then we'll talk about that fight later on in November. But so far, like I said, hours before the shutdown, Democrats completely dug in.
Well, let's bring in NBC News White House correspondent Vaughn Hilliard now. There's also controversy, Vaughn, over an AI-generated deep fake video that President Trump posted on night. What did he post, and what was from the lead?
Right, you can see there Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer on the right, and then on the left you see Hakeem Jeffries, the House Minority Leader. Of course, this is posted by the President of the United States himself. It's an AI-generated video with the men speaking words that were not their own words, and of course you see the sombrero and a fake mustache. This came just hours, this post, after those 2 men did in fact speak, actually right from where I'm standing now, after meeting with the President of the United States here at the White House. And the 2 men, part of the words that they actually spoke were waiting for the continuation of city of a Medicaid package earlier this summer passed by Republicans. The early mock.
We're back in the show. Brian Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Lance Storm is joining us here today, and we got a lot to talk about. Lance.
Trump that they thought that he was sympathetic toward, but clearly a couple hours later, posting in a very mocking fashion.
WrestlingObserver.com. Video.f4wonline.com.
And I want to go back to you because the economics of this shutdown could be monumental, and agencies.
Or Apple Podcasts at 4wonline.com/Apple.
The overall economic impact, a lot of things have
Spotify, Apple, all just $9.99. But starting tonight,
multi-trillion-dollar economy is not all that much.
It will be 20 years.
They don't like uncertainty, but interestingly, if you take a look at the last few shutdowns, actually the markets went up during those periods of time. In fact, during the longest one on record, the 34-day shutdown in December of 2018, the S&P 500 went up by 10%. It was for completely unrelated.
But anyway, that's starting tonight. And so, what show are we watching? The one from 20 years ago this week. The debut on Spike TV.
Doesn't discount the importance of trying to avoid a government shutdown, but again, at least your 401ks won't be stressed about it.
All right, let's hope. Brian Sean, Vaughn Hilliard, Julie Sirkin, thanks to you all.
And